In the quiet, grandeur-filled halls of power, where history is rewritten with every generation, a subtle shift is taking place right before our very eyes. It is a world governed by traditions that span centuries, where every step is rehearsed, every glance is measured, and every relationship is scrutinized under the uncompromising lens of global attention. Yet, beyond the gilded gates and behind the towering stone facades of ancient palaces, a completely different reality exists. It is a realm of genuine laughter, unspoken bonds, and deep human connections that defy the rigid protocols of statecraft. Today, we step behind the velvet ropes to explore a remarkable dynamic unfolding in the upper echelons of modern society. A young heir, destined to one day carry the immense weight of a historic legacy, is growing up in a world that demands perfection at every turn. From the moment of his birth, his path has been charted with meticulous precision, surrounded by advisors, formal protocol, and the constant, watchful gaze of the public eye. However, nestled within this highly structured existence lies a sanctuary of effortless warmth and authenticity. A sanctuary built not by courtiers or high-ranking officials, but by two extraordinary individuals who operate entirely outside the conventional rules of aristocratic expectation. Before we journey deeper into this captivating story and reveal how these figures are quietly shaping the mindset of a future ruler, make sure to take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Joining our community ensures you will never miss an inside look at the most intriguing stories, historical insights, and fascinating human relationships shaping our world today. Hit that subscribe button now and let us continue this incredible journey together. To truly understand the atmosphere surrounding this young heir as he stands on the precipice of young adulthood, one must appreciate the sheer magnitude of the world he inhabits. From early childhood, every public appearance is recorded, every gesture analyzed, and every interaction choreographed to maintain the dignity of a centuries-old institution. For any child, growing up under such intense scrutiny presents a unique set of challenges. The adults who populate this rarefied environment are often split into two distinct categories. On one side are those who are utterly dazzled by the grand tradition itself, treating every moment with an almost reverent formality. On the other side are professionals whose dedication and warmth, while genuine, are ultimately bound by duty and employment. In such an environment, finding individuals who offer pure, unfiltered human interaction without any underlying agenda is extraordinarily rare. It requires people who possess the courage to strip away the formality, who see the child rather than the title, and who bring a refreshing sense of grounded reality to a world that can often feel surreal. It is within this delicate ecosystem that two specific figures have emerged as anchor points of unyielding normality. They are individuals who carry a legendary presence of their own, yet they walk through the corridors of prestige without a single trace of pretension or self-importance. Observers who have spent decades analyzing the intricate social dynamics of high society have noticed something truly extraordinary whenever these figures interact with the young prince. Where others might offer deferential nods or polite distance, these two bring robust energy, playful teasing, and an unshakable sense of warmth. There are no grand performances, no carefully rehearsed postures, and no underlying desire to gain advantage. Instead, there is only the pure, uncomplicated joy of shared moments, instinctive protection, and absolute sincerity. The significance of these relationships becomes even more profound as time marches forward. The young prince is now reaching a critical milestone in his life, entering an era where the formal structures designed to prepare him for his ultimate destiny are tightening around him. The elite educational institutions, the specialized advisors, and the constant preparation for future responsibilities are all falling into place. This grand apparatus can successfully mold a leader, instilling discipline, knowledge, and poise. Yet, the apparatus alone cannot shape the inner spirit, the character, or the grounded humility required to navigate a lifetime of intense scrutiny. The subtle qualities of resilience, humor, and self-awareness are not learned from formal lessons or ancient textbooks. They are absorbed through everyday moments, through candid conversations with adults who have achieved greatness on their own terms, and through the quiet comfort of knowing that someone sees you simply for who you are. As we look closely at the moments captured away from the formal ceremonies, a clear picture begins to form. We see a boy who feels entirely at ease, leaning into a reassuring embrace, sharing an inside joke, or enjoying the freedom of childhood without the burden of expectations. We see adults who treat the vast institution with a light touch, demonstrating daily that true worth is measured by personal effort rather than inherited status. This fascinating blend of high-stakes destiny and down-to-earth reality creates a compelling atmosphere, setting the stage for a story of mentorship, family loyalty, and authentic character building. The foundations have been laid, the subtle influences are actively at play, and the stage is set to fully uncover how this remarkable dynamic came to be and why its impact will echo far into the future. To fully appreciate how this remarkable influence took root in the life of Prince George, one must turn back the clock to the summers and winters of a shared childhood. Long before Prince George was born, the foundation for this grounded sanctuary was being built in the rugged landscapes of Norfolk and the majestic, rain-swept hills of the Scottish Highlands. Prince William and his cousin Zara Tindall, born just 18 months apart, grew up side by side. They shared Norfolk Christmases and wet Scottish afternoons when the adults were occupied with official duties and the young cousins were left to create their own adventures. Zara knew William long before his name dominated global headlines. Crucially, she was there in the tragic late summer of 1997, standing as a steady, comforting presence as a 14-year-old boy saw his life transformed into public property virtually overnight. Very few people alive today can claim to have shared that specific, harrowing history with the future king. None of them work for him. Because of this deep-rooted shared past, Zara possesses a rare authority. She can look at the heir to the throne, tell him when he is being overly formal or pompous, and be heard without defense or friction. She offers him complete candor, entirely devoid of personal ambition or tactical posturing. When Catherine entered this world from the outside, she found in Zara a welcoming ally who had spent her entire life choosing not to be awed by the grand royal apparatus. When Prince William and Princess Catherine welcomed Prince George into the world in July 2013, their choice of godparents reflected a deliberate desire for authentic connection. Among the 7 friends and confidants selected to guide their firstborn, only one was a blood relative, Zara Tindall. This decision was far more than a simple familial courtesy. It was a conscious choice to anchor their son to a lineage of fierce independence and genuine achievement. To understand the strength Zara brings to this role, one must look back to a pivotal decision made decades earlier by her mother, Princess Anne. When Zara and her brother Peter were born, Princess Anne famously turned down royal titles for her children. At the time, commentators routinely dismissed the move as typical contrarian behavior from the sharp-minded princess. In truth, it proved to be perhaps the single shrewdest decision made within the royal household throughout the entire 20th century. Deprived of titles and the automatic privileges that accompany them, Zara was handed a profound gift: the necessity to build a life on her own merits. She had to go out into the world and win, and that is precisely what she did. In 2006, at the World Equestrian Games in Aachen, Germany, riding a chestnut horse named Toy Town that she had originally found through a simple classified advertisement, Zara put on a masterclass of skill, grit, and athletic precision. She emerged as the world champion in eventing. Later that December, the British public voted her the BBC Sports Personality of the Year, echoing the very same accolade her mother had won 35 years prior in 1971. Standing in the pouring rain in front of international judges who cared nothing for her royal lineage, Zara proved her ultimate worth purely through talent, relentless hard work, and athletic brilliance. The narrative took another extraordinary turn when Zara married a man who had forged an equally formidable legacy in the unforgiving arena of professional sport. Mike Tindall, a towering force in English rugby union, earned 75 caps for his country and cemented his place in sports history as a member of the legendary 2003 World Cup winning squad. Rugby fans across the globe still recall the ferocious intensity of that final in Sydney, where Tindall famously tackled the Australian scrum half, neutralising the threat and laying the groundwork for England's historic victory. Having broken his nose at least 8 times in the heat of battle, Mike stepped into the public spotlight as a man forged in grit, team camaraderie, and raw physical determination. When he married Zara at the historic Canongate Kirk in Edinburgh in July 2011, he integrated seamlessly into one of the most heavily scrutinised families on earth without ever acting like someone who had married above his station. Together, Zara and Mike represent a unique phenomenon: 2 world champions, bound by mutual respect and personal accomplishment, neither of whom is remotely intimidated by titles, crown jewels, or ancient hereditary status. As Prince George grew, so too did the lively circle surrounding him. Zara and Mike welcomed their eldest daughter Mia in January 2014, a mere 6 months after George was born. Princess Charlotte arrived in 2015, followed by Lena Tindall in 2018, the same year Prince Louis was born, and Lucas Tindall completed the family in 2021. This tight-knit cohort of cousins transformed formal gatherings into spirited family reunions. Away from the flashing cameras and protocol-heavy public appearances, the children grew up side by side, spending Christmases at Sandringham, summer breaks at Balmoral, and endless weekends exploring the English countryside. Within this private sanctuary, the distinction between royal highnesses and untitled cousins vanishes completely. It is within this informal, energetic family setting that Mike Tindall evolved into something far beyond a traditional uncle or family friend. While not officially designated as one of George's godparents, Mike stepped into a role that royal observers consider even more valuable. He became the relatable, fun-loving mentor who engages with the future king on a human level that few others dare to reach. The physical evidence of this deep bond is captured in countless candid moments throughout the years. During casual family outings, such as the Burnham Market International Horse Trials in Norfolk back in 2019, a 6-year-old Prince George was captured beaming with pure joy while riding high on the shoulders of the 6'2" former athlete, brandishing a toy plastic sword. Moments later, the young prince playfully clamped his hands over Mike's eyes, giggling hysterically as the giant rugby champion feigned complete blindness. Fast forward to December 2024 at Sandringham, and the affection remains as strong as ever. Following the traditional Christmas Day church service, Mike was seen warmly ruffling the young prince's hair before placing a protective arm around his shoulders and leaning in to share a laugh. What makes Mike's influence so profoundly vital for Prince George is his unique willingness to address the one subject almost everyone else avoids: losing. In a world where courtiers, staff, and public observers are naturally invested in making sure the future king wins, succeeds, and appears flawless, Mike brings the invaluable perspective of an elite athlete who has suffered painful defeats on the world stage. Having lost crucial matches in front of 80,000 screaming spectators in massive stadiums, Mike knows how to dust himself off, find the humour in failure the very next morning, and turn loss into a stepping stone for resilience. He talks to George about sport, competition, and setbacks with straightforward honesty. Mike has shared in interviews that George is wildly passionate about football and shares his father's intense devotion to Aston Villa. Whether they are kicking a ball around the garden or sitting down together to watch a high-stakes match, Mike offers George a safe space where he is simply a football-loving boy, free from the crushing weight of his ultimate destiny. As Prince George turns 13 and prepares to step into the disciplined, history-steeped environment of Eton College, the institutional machinery that surrounds a future sovereign begins to click into place with undeniable permanence. The specialized security details, the meticulously curated schedules, the dedicated staff, and the ever-tightening gaze of the global media will slowly construct a world from which there is no easy escape. Step by step, the young prince will enter a life defined by immense public duty and relentless observation. Yet, while the institution can build the framework of a king, it cannot decide what kind of man will inhabit that role. The institutional machine can teach protocol, diplomacy, and public composure, but it cannot instill the raw emotional intelligence, humility, and grounded authenticity required to remain human under extraordinary pressure. For those crucial human qualities, Prince George will inevitably look to the two people in his immediate orbit who hold no royal rank, no formal titles, and no ambition to climb the aristocratic ladder: Zara and Mike Tindall. To understand why Zara and Mike are uniquely positioned to serve as life anchors for the future monarch, one must look at how they have structured their own existence within the public sphere. Over 15 years of marriage, raising 3 children together while holding 2 world sports titles between them, they have navigated life under the media spotlight without a single crisis, drama, or breach of family trust. They have consistently declined to trade overtly on the royal name or sell access to their private lives. When official family duties call, whether standing on the balcony of Buckingham Palace for major national celebrations, participating in jubilees, or attending solemn state funerals, Zara steps forward with flawless grace, quiet dignity, and complete respect for the institution. The moment the formal event concludes, she seamlessly transitions back to her real life, earning her own living, managing her professional endeavors, and getting back on a horse to compete at the highest level. Virtually no one else within the extended royal framework has managed to navigate this delicate boundary between public duty and private independence with such effortless success. She moves between the absolute center of royal life and its quiet edges without fuss, without resentment, and without ever demanding anything in return. This rare ability to move freely between two worlds gives Zara and Mike an extraordinary perspective that will be of immense value to Prince William when he eventually ascends the throne, and later to Prince George. In the years ahead, as King William moves forward with long-discussed plans to streamline the monarchy, reduce the number of working royals, and trim the official payroll, the social dynamics within the palace will inevitably shift. A streamlined institution means that future sovereigns will spend decades surrounded predominantly by individuals whose warmth and attention, however genuine, are tied to their professional roles. What a king truly needs in his inner circle are adults who have achieved massive success on their own independent terms, who have earned international respect through merit alone, and who can therefore look at the grand spectacle of monarchy with a light, sensible, and refreshing touch. When international observers and casual spectators look at the British monarchy, they often question its modern purpose and relevance in a fast-changing world. While formal explanations often focus on constitutional continuity or charitable patronage, a deeper and far more compelling answer lies in the human outcome of the institution. The true value of such a legacy is demonstrated in its ability to produce individuals like Zara and Mike, people capable of extraordinary personal achievement, completely devoid of titles or unearned privilege, ready to serve when called upon, and content to maintain a dignified silence the rest of the time. They embody a rare blueprint of modern excellence, where character is defined by actions rather than inherited labels. For Prince George, growing up alongside Mia, Lena, and Lucas Tindall offers a precious sanctuary of unconditional belonging. Within that vibrant, laughter-filled circle of cousins at Sandringham and Balmoral, none will ever be working royals, yet all are deeply loved family members. In an institution where public roles can sometimes obscure private relationships, this genuine family bond counts for far more than outsiders could ever comprehend. It provides Prince George with a grounded, safe haven, where he is not an heir to an ancient throne, but simply a cousin, a teammate, and a friend. He learns by daily example that true confidence does not come from the deference of others or the grandeur of a title, but from self-reliance, physical hard work, resilience in the face of defeat, and the courage to remain authentically oneself. As Prince George moves forward toward his ultimate destiny, the quiet influence of his godmother and her husband will continue to shape his worldview in ways that no textbook or formal training ever could. He is destined to become king, a reality written into the very fabric of his birth. However, whether he arrives at that monumental responsibility, knowing the fundamental difference between merely being important and being truly useful, remains an open question. Fortunately for the young prince, the two adults walking closely alongside him have spent their lives demonstrating that difference on world stages, in mud-soaked sports arenas, and in the quiet privacy of everyday family life. With no titles between them, but with World Championship gold medals earned through sheer determination and sweat, Zara and Mike Tindall stand as living proof that true greatness requires no applause, no special privilege, and no royal crest. Their presence in Prince George's life ensures that as the crown draws nearer, the boy inside will always remain firmly grounded in what matters most.